Now, the average cost of a data breach for companies has increased by 15% to 84.9 million rand in the past 3 years. This as business, big and small, become prime targets of cyber criminals. Now, how do businesses stay ahead of this ever-developing crime? Let's hear from Nomlayo Mabhena-Mlilo, Director of the Dispute Resolution at corporate and commercial law firm Cliff Decker Hofmeyr, who's joining me now live. Very good afternoon, ma'am. Are you well?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm very well, thank you. So how prevalent is cybercrime? Is it on the big increase in South Africa? No,
absolutely. I think our lives are now, embroiled in technology. We use technology for everything. We have this convenience that comes with technology. Everything we do is on our devices, it's on our phones, our laptops, our tablets. But with that increased convenience, we now have this infiltration that comes from fraudsters, and it's easy for them to access everything because we do everything on our phones. Yeah. So with the increased use of technology in our lives, we also have now seen an increase in the cyber crime market, if I can call it that, yes.
I mean, we're looking at the cost here in that opening, my opening spiel there, increased by 15%, 84.9 million in the past 3 years. Is that per incident, your average, that you might have to pay ransom?
Each time. So you get different types of cybercrime. So you get your ransomware attacks, you get hacking, you get phishing scams. That's a lot of us are subjected to, where someone sends you an email and says, click on this link to open. That's usually a phishing scam. You get ransomware attacks where they steal data from somebody, and then for you to get that data back, you need to pay something. And you get your hacking, where someone tries to infiltrate your database and get information from you. So it's the different types. And
what's more prevalent?
Phishing scams, because they'll target individuals and companies together.
Okay. From a business point of view, how important is it for us to secure our emails?
No, it's absolutely important. So we find that with phishing scams, how it's usually done, fraudsters will intercept one of two people's emails. For example, let's say there's a debtor and a creditor, right? Or you have a situation where someone is buying a property, for example, which is what we see a lot, where people are paying purchase prices in cash for their houses. So a fraudster infiltrates either the conveyancing attorney's emails or the buyer's emails. So you find that then someone then sends an email that says pay to this account, and it's a fraudster's account, and you make payment without verifying those banking details. And at that point, the money is gone, and then you now find yourself in this bind, and that's very, very prevalent. So the moment they infiltrate your emails, you can possibly tell which is correct and which is not, and you make payment into the wrong account. So a lot of people have fallen victim to that.
I can see you have to verify, and a lot of that strikes me as a human error as well, isn't it? Is there a lot of education around this?
So I don't think there's sufficient education around it. We have had a number of court cases where the court has said people are generally not very prudent when it comes to verifying bank details. So, for example, the Supreme Court of Appeal recently dealt with a matter where a lady bought a house for 6 million rand, which is like her pension fund. She was saving her whole life for this. And she made payment of the deposit to the estate agent, and she verified those details. She called the estate agent and verified. But when she made payment of the balance of 5.5 million, she then didn't verify with the conveyancing attorney as to whether these were the correct banking details, because she didn't realize her emails had been intercepted. So she paid 5.5 million to a fraudster, and she now wanted to hold the attorneys liable, but the court then found that she was aware of the risk of business email compromise, as she had verified the details when she paid the deposit, but she failed to be as prudent when she paid the balance, so no one else could be held liable. So it shows you the importance and the need to verify each time you're going to make a payment.
Geez, I'm bleeding for 5.5 million. It's not a joke. Yeah. Okay, so what sort of security measures can we put in place?
I think that depends. So it depends whether you're the payer or the payee, right? Yeah. So for businesses that are receiving money, or maybe let's start with paying money, because we have had cases as well that have been heard by the full bench where a company made payment to and like they were also infiltrated in the same way and made payment of a purchase price of a property to a wrong party. And the court there said you should always call after you receive a change in banking details. So the moment someone says, no, I know I gave you this bank account details, but now I'm asking you to pay into a different account, you must make sure that you call and verify that change. Personally, don't just make that call. So that is the first step. If now you are receiving the funds, I think that there are various ways that we can. I don't think they're foolproof, but I think we can at least try.
Yeah.
So for one, verifying telephonically. But I think that people now need to separate you need to agree on the manner in which you're going to provide banking details from the outset, right? Because we just assume someone is going to email them, they're not, that's how these things come about. So at the beginning of your mandate with anyone, verify how you're going to provide banking details. And I think the best way to do that would be to say, I'll give you a PDF document via email, which will be password protected, and I'll SMS you the password. So in that way, it will take a lot for a fraudster to infiltrate your SMSs, your phone, your email, and all of that. I think that would be helpful.
And also just get your bank manager, if you're transferring 5 million rand,
yes,
for you.
to do it for
I think it's a lot safer.
Call.
We're talking about generative AI, and I know this is not the subject, but I mean, you've got, even if you make a phone call nowadays, they can make, AI now can basically mimic your voice. So that's, you're also afraid of that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so from South African law point of view, what are the limitations in terms of us tackling cybercrime?
Technology is very fast moving, and our legal principles are trying to keep up with this fast change, right? So we are not changing the underlying principles of our law, but we're trying to apply them to an ever-changing society, which is what may create a bit of a limitation, because we don't have a lot of jurisprudence that covers this area of the law, because it's fairly new. However, the court has also said they are not as inclined to accede to claims of pure economic loss where there is negligence. So in this case of the lady with the 5.5 million, she had alleged to the court that, the law firm that was doing the transfer should have told her that, there's this risk, they should have done this. They should have warned her in advance and told her all of these things. And the court said, but we cannot impose this kind of liability on every creditor to try and protect their data from possible infiltration. So the law is trying to keep up with an ever-changing society, and we're keeping an eye on the jurisprudence in that regard. But it's not so wide because it's a new area that we are trying to tackle. Yeah.
Nomlayo, thank you so much for scaring me and worrying me. Thank you for coming in. Listen, it is tough, and things are always changing. We love the technology, but it can also work against us. No,
definitely. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. That's Nomlayo Mabhena-Mlilo from Cliff Decker Hofmeyr talking to us about the prevalence of cybercrime in South Africa. Now, Johannesburg